How you doing? This is Daughters for basic and intermediate guitar. This is by John Mayer. It's a really nice, pretty song that he did for acoustic. When he played it, he did it up here in 7th or 5th position. And there's some chords that a lot of people aren't used to playing yet. So I'm going to do another advanced version of this later on. But for now, we're going to do it in 1st position. And it still sounds really great. And these are chords that you might be more familiar with. So starting off with B minor 7. We're going to use the first finger on the B, the second finger on the A, the third finger on the D. And it looks like that, and all your chord boxes are listed. The rhythm of the song is in 6/8. That means there's 6 beats in a measure. The 8th note receives the beat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1. Now, what he did was he put an 8th note, and then on beats 2 and 3, he put the 16th notes in there, so it sounds like this: 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and I'll do it slower: 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and 1, 2. Okay, so if I hold the B minor 7 chord, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6. Now I'm going to keep my first finger on my third finger. I'm going to lift up the second and take the little finger and put it on the G note on the 3rd fret of the high string. And this creates E minor 7. Same rhythm. Now I'm going to keep my third finger again. You'll notice a trend here, I hope. We're going to take the first finger and we're going to drop it to the 2nd fret of the 4th string. And this creates A7 sus4. And then halfway through that measure, we're going to take the second finger and put it down on the C sharp, lift up the third finger, and it becomes A7. And then measure 4, we're going to just take these two, drop them straight down, and make a D shape. And then it says repeat, so we're going to go back to the beginning. Now the cool thing about this is I try to create it in such a way where the third finger is on that D note for a lot of the song. So it gives you an anchor point, and then you're just moving these other ones around it. Not every time, but a lot of the times, trying to make it easier for you to visualize. We go back to B minor 7 now, but you see from the D to the B minor 7. Look at that. Not a big deal because the third finger gets to stay. So, E minor 7, little finger drops, second finger lifts. A7 sus, the third finger stays, little finger comes up, first finger drops down to the 4th string, A7 sus, and now second finger drops to here, we get A7, and then these two drop and we get a D. The reason I'm taking so much time on that is because that's the main figure of the song. Another way that you can practice, and I've said this before, if you can't get all that together at once, do the 1, 2, 3 switch, like 1, 2, 3, switch. 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 And you start over. Now I know that the rhythm is wrong when I do that because that was 4/4 and this is 6/8. But you want to break it down and try to think of one thing at a time. So if you got the groove with your right hand, which is 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and 1. If you feel pretty good about that, isolate this. And then say, well, I've got B minor 7 to E minor 7, but I can't get to the next one. Well, don't practice the stuff that you know. Immediately move to the things that you don't know and spend your time working on that. I mean, it's fun to make a good sound, but we want to get through the whole song. Okay, now, verse. We're on measure 5. B minor 7 again. A minor 7. A7 sus4. A7. D. Exactly the same thing as the intro. So you're going to do that verse part 4 times after you do the intro twice. So that would be a total of 6 times through that particular chord sequence. Chorus. You're going to see the frequency of the chord starts to switch more rapidly. For instance, you get 2 chords per measure. I'm going to slow down. we have B minor 7. And then halfway through the measure, you have E minor 7, which we've already done. Then A7 sus4 right to D. And the cool thing about the chorus is the third finger does not leave the string like this. Again, if I couldn't do that, I would go. And I would isolate those moves. And every time I hit it, I would say E minor 7, A7 sus4, D. And then I would gradually speed up my metronome or how I was feeling it until then I would say, okay, I've got the switches with my left hand. Let me put that back into the groove. Okay, that's the chorus. Measure 11, it says guitar break. Well, that's going to be the same as the main figure. And then he does his little solo. Then it says DS al coda. DS means it takes you back to the symbol, which is measure 5, which is that little S looking symbol underneath the word verse. And so you're going to do another verse. You're just going to do the verses again and you do the chorus again. Then it says da coda at the end of the chorus, the second time. That takes you to where it says bridge, and there's that little coda symbol that's got the circle with the 2 lines through it. Now we're going to start the bridge. We have a D chord. And then we have what's called D augmented. And you're going to leave the third finger again. Take the second finger here, put the first finger here. And you go back to D. So here it is, D. A7. B minor 7, second finger stays. Oh, I'm sorry, no finger stays, my bad. Everybody to B minor 7. B minor 7, which is the first and third stayed. Now we have a new chord. This is called D/F sharp. We might have done this in another song. The third finger will stay. The first finger goes to the F sharp on the low string, and the second finger goes to the A note on the third string. Now we have F sus4 over G, which sounds like this. G, skip a string, F, B flat, first finger over here on the C note. This might be a little tricky for someone. I couldn't not put it in there. It sounded so nice, you know. A7 for 2 measures. We're going to go over the bridge again. We have D, D augmented, back to D, A7, B minor 7, E minor 7, D/F sharp or D over F sharp. What does that mean? What that means is it's a D chord as its main chord structure. But then in the low bass note, you're playing an F sharp. So if you were playing a piano, you would just play a D chord with the right hand, and normally you'd play a D note over here as the bass note. Well, you're still playing a D chord, but you just take that bass note and make it an F sharp, and it would sound a little different. And that's all we're doing here. That's what that means. D over F sharp. This is F sharp down here. And that's the lowest sounding bass note. This is still D up here. We just have to reconfigure our hand to take basically that F sharp that was here on top, putting it on the bottom. Okay, and then we have this F sus4 over G, which may be a little tricky. If that bothers you, you could substitute G minor 7, which is a full bar, and then the third finger on the 5th fret of the 5th string. And then A7. Okay, so that's the tune. Those are all the parts. The strumming is very repetitive, same thing, because I've kind of watered it down for this intermediate version. I put it all in first position. And so now I'm just going to play through it here and let the video time run out because I only get about 10 or 12 minutes. So thanks for watching, and here you go. No puts the color inside of my world. She's just like a maze, where all of the walls all continually change. I'm gonna go right to the chorus. Mothers, be good to your daughters. Daughters will love like you do. Girls just become lovers, turn into mothers. Mothers, be good to your daughters too. Bridge. Boys, you can break. Find out how much they can take. Boys will be strong. Boys soldier on. Boys would be gone without the warmth of a woman's good heart. Forgive me for the singing, I don't really know the words. You know, and then there's that part. And then he kind of goes back to the mothers, be good to your daughters, and so forth. And at the end, mothers, be good to your daughters too. So the last two chords are A7 sus4 to D, but they're dotted quarter notes because we're kind of tapering the song and letting it go out there. So, okay, thanks for watching. Really nice sounding song. And again, I'll do this arrangement for you where the chords are a little bit more open sounding and in a more advanced video. So, see you next time. Thanks.